Hello guys, and welcome to another episode of the Steve and Dan Show, where apparently we just have endless laughs all the time. It would be really interesting, right, if people could see an insight of what happens before the recording actually starts. Maybe that should be like a bloopers thing or something. But then
yeah, we just need to hit record earlier.
We do, don't we? Yeah, we should start. Okay, lesson for another one. Anyway, hi, welcome to the show. My name's Dan Holloway. This is my co-host, Steve Herbert. Am I doing it the right way around?
Yeah.
Steve, thank you for joining as always. And today we are joined by special guest Rob Sewell, who is very new on his online business journey. So really excited to actually start delving into the journey so far in these early stages. Little bit of background, if this is the first time you're watching the show and you don't know who I am or don't know who Steve is, my background before starting online business was September 2016, trapped in corporate software sales, 70-hour weeks, pretty successful, earning near six figures, but unfulfilled in what I was doing. And my big wake-up moment was realizing that no income goal in the past had ever brought me fulfillment or happiness or really meant anything in the grand scheme of things. And when I was going for these, even higher paying roles to earn even more money, I suddenly realized, well, if it's never worked for me in the past, why is it going to work for me now? So I realized that I had to change path. That was when I discovered SFM. That's when I discovered the whole concept of online business, the concept of using digital technology, automation to create leverage and basically build time and financial freedom. And since then, it's been an incredible journey with amazing people, with a lot of world traveling. I'm sitting in a shared co-working office in Kiev in Ukraine at the moment. This time, not in like a priest's confession booth. If you've seen any shows before, when I was in Warsaw, it's a tiny little phone booth in some office thing that I was in. Anyway, different story. It's been really cool. Steve, if you'd like to give a little bit of background, please, for anyone watching for the first time.
Absolutely. Steve, husband, father, entrepreneur. I've started and grown several businesses over the years, and I really love that. I love the challenge. I love bringing something to the public, to the marketplace that is of value and quality. And I really have always wanted to build things, create things, love that process, but found that I felt trapped. I felt like my clients owned my life and my schedule, and the harder I worked, the less time I had with my family, which was ultimately part of the reason I liked having my own business, is to be able to spend more time with my family. And if I couldn't do that, then sort of what's the point? And that's when I went searching and found the SFM. So here we are. Rob, do you want to give us a little bit of your background before we get into your story, just to give people perspective?
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
Awesome.
Thanks for having me on. Thanks for having me on the show today. It's great. It's really great to talk to you guys. So I'm Rob. I'm from the north of England, from a big city called Sheffield. 44 years old. Married for 11 years. Got two children. Oscar, 14. Yasmin is 10. Where do I start? As a youngster, I was always interested in science. This was a kind of passion of mine, and this is something that I just loved it at school. So I was destined to become a scientist in my eyes. Anyway, so I studied hard, got into university, got a degree in biomedical science. Then I went to London to seek my fortune. Started working for Cancer Research UK as a research assistant. Very quickly, I went on to study a PhD. I got my doctorate in 2005. I did my doctorate in cancer immunotherapy. And then started to work as a postdoctoral scientist with Cancer Research UK and at University of London. And even though this was something I was really interested in, I'm still interested in science. I love science. Something was just telling me it's not quite right. It's just not quite right. Working really, really long hours, 12 hours a day, and then there would be, study at night as well, having to read papers and things like this. Around about that time, had first child, my son. Living in London, my family were not there. My partner's family were not there. And actually, the mother of my son became quite ill mentally and left the relationship and left me to look after my son on my own. So, here I am. I've got a son. I'm living in a 1-bedroom flat in an inner city area in London. I'm working 12 hours a day. I've got to study at night. Just got no time whatsoever. And I needed to change my life. I was really, really struggling at that time emotionally. And so I decided, right, I've got to do something different here. I need a bit more time for myself, a little bit more freedom. So I actually came out of science and I went to work in sales and marketing. So I worked as a scientist for 10 years, and then I had a 10-year career in sales and marketing in the life science industry. So here, you know, I was able to earn more money. I got a free car. I got a bit more freedom, more flexible working hours. Okay, it was flexible, but I was still working those 12-hour days. Well, I say 12-hour days. Sometimes it was 16-hour days. Very, very, very demanding. But, you know, things started to improve a little bit. I met someone. I got married. My wife now. We've been married 11 years, as I say. Had my daughter. But I never had time for them. I never had time for family. And again, something was just missing in my life. Something was missing. Even though I progressed really well in my work. You know, I got 2 degrees. There was something missing. I wasn't happy. I wasn't developing myself spiritually and emotionally. And something started to happen to me in those last sort of 3 to 4 years of working. I started to get depressed. I really started to struggle. People were telling me, but I didn't recognize it. And my mentality was always, well, I can do everything. I've had this great career. I've got all these degrees, and I just plow on ahead and push all of these negative thoughts into the back of my mind. But of course, they don't go away. They stay there, and they build up and they build up. And what actually happened to me was I started to struggle with alcohol. And as time went on, I started to drink more. And in May of 2017, my family intervened and said that I had a problem. So around that time as well, I lost my job. I wasn't functioning properly. My mind was all over the place. And this was just all, I got a great job. I've got a great family. I'm a homeowner. Why am I unhappy? Why am I unhappy? Because I realized that I wasn't fulfilled at all. And I hadn't developed myself. I didn't know who I was. I had no idea. And so, for the last 8 months, I haven't worked. For the last 8 months, I've been working on myself. I'm part of a recovery group here in my city of Sheffield. I'm happy to say I no longer drink. I'm sober. I am an alcoholic, and I will always be an alcoholic, and I don't ever want to drink again. The amazing thing that's happened to me over this past 6 to 8 months is I've been able to strip away all of this crap that's been going on in my life and to find out really who I am. And one of the things I've become very interested in is meditation and Eastern philosophies, Buddhism and things like this. I wouldn't say I was a Buddhist, but I'm very interested in these kind of ideas. I've been practicing mindfulness. I would say, anywhere between 2 and 4 hours of meditation a day. Wow. Which is just amazing. The things that I am able to do now are unbelievable. The anxieties I've had have gone away. I have no anxiety whatsoever anymore. I have no more fear anymore of all these stupid things that I was scared of before. And so, every day, nearly every day, I would say 4 or 5 days a week, I bare my soul like this to people in recovery meetings. Yeah, I will talk about anything. I'm not shameful. I was very ashamed of things I've done in the past as well. I'm not shameful anymore. And I have a really good understanding of who I am and what I want to become. And so just after sort of New Year, I've not been working for nearly 6 months. And I was thinking, well, I need to get back into work now. I feel, I've worked so hard all of my life. And now I feel like I need to get back into something. So I thought, well, what can I do? And the only thing I knew what to do was to go back into sales or marketing within the life science industry. This is what I know. I thought maybe you start off with that, and then maybe, you know, in a year's time, you'll figure out what it is you really want to do, and then you can start to do that. But I went to a couple of interviews, and, you know, they went okay, but I didn't really want the jobs. And I actually started to feel anxious again because I didn't want to go back to that lifestyle. I just thought, wow, what happens if I go back to this and I go back to the same way of feeling? And I knew that that was going to happen. Mm. So, you know, I've been spending a lot of time on YouTube looking at self-development, meditation and things like this. And I must have clicked on something somewhere because these adverts kept popping up everywhere for SFM. And at first I was skipping through them. You know, I want to watch my video on meditation. I don't want to watch this advert. But and I watched a couple of them, and something just told me to click and go a little bit further. And so I did. And I started to investigate a little bit more. You know, I looked around at what the SFM was, some reviews and things like that. And everything was just speaking to me. It was speaking to me. It was like the people who were speaking on the screen were speaking to me personally. And when I started to go through the early stages and that first orientation call, you know, people were saying, oh, you know, this is going to be a real eye-opener, this first orientation call, because it's not what you think it is. It's not just tools and training to learn how to do digital marketing. This is all about development and mindset, and mind shift. Mm-hmm. And I thought, wow, this is what I'm doing now. This is what I'm doing. I'm already halfway there. You know, this is speaking to me. I'm not ashamed to say that I had a tear run down my face. JJ was talking on that first orientation call. I just thought, wow, I'm in the right place here. I am completely in the right place. And yeah, that's kind of my story over the last few years, and this sort of transition to coming into the SFM. And I'm just 100% into it. There's no doubt in my mind.
Yeah,
I'm in the wrong place. I'm just 100% here.
I can definitely feel that as you tell your story. And, you know, I just want to give you credit for being so brave and being so honest. I really appreciate that. And I know that's going to touch people, and it's going to help them make the decisions that they need to make, because when you're that open, people are able to see it within themselves and be able to see their story and where they need to make a change. And it's the insight that you have, and the fact that you know that you needed to make a change. You know, you had to work on yourself. That's great. So many people don't even get to that point where they, oh, you know, I'm broken. Most people just put it out there, and oh, there's something wrong with society or somebody else, or this, you know, blame, instead of I need to work on me. So, man, that is awesome. You've been with the community a short time now, a couple of months. Yeah. And in that time, obviously, you know, you're working through the system, and you're learning about marketing and that sort of thing. Sounds like you have a similar sales background to Dan. So you get sales. You definitely get it. But was there something that you learned in going through the back office, in going through the training, the modules and that sort of thing, that surprised you? Was there anything that stuck out or that really grabbed your attention, given that you already know sales and marketing, that you didn't know or that was different?
So much. It's incredible. The amount of training that is in the back office is staggering. It really is staggering. And, you know, just learning all the little nuances of everything, whether it's Facebook marketing or Instagram or pay-per-click or whatever it is. The amount of information that is in there is incredible. And it's, you know, it's not just, you know, you have some trainings that are, you know, bite size and, you know, 1 minute long, which is very good. It helps you to really take that information in. But then there are great pieces of training that, you know, can be 2, 3, 4 hours long, where people are talking and really sharing experiences and taking you through things step by step. I think there's a whole variety of different trainings and information that's within the back office. It really is incredible. And the kind of tools that are available are amazing. To think that, you know, if you were doing this on your own from scratch, to have to, you know, put all of these different tools together to create landing pages and websites and all of this information. I mean, it'd be nearly impossible to do on your own, I think, unless you had some prior knowledge.
Huge amount of work for sure.
It is. And to have all that stuff, you know, in one place and to be connected together really helps you to get up and running quite quickly. I think, you know, you can be more creative and have more ideas rather than have to worry too much about the technical side of things.
Yeah, and that's the key thing, because a lot of people, when they start, because there is so much training, you know, you got Microsoft Lynda under the LinkedIn umbrella of companies that's offered their 6,500 training courses as part of S membership, and that's on top of the masses of training that SFM and all of us lot are already doing, who are actively in the trenches marketing. And so it's so easy for people when they come in to be like totally overwhelmed, thinking that they have to go through 6,500 videos. It's like, no. You need to pick and choose the very tiny, minute fraction that are going to help you get down the path that you want to get to. So given that, and I'm really excited that you're on this call, Rob, given that you've just started, because one of the biggest challenges I think that as people progress down this journey is being able to relate to somebody who's still in that position where they're starting out. They're still in that position where, you know, they're trapped in the corporate world, where they're looking for a solution, i.e. another job, another role, a better role, but they've got that feeling, just like a knot in their stomach, or like that feeling in your chest, in your heart, that something isn't right. And I know exactly what you were talking about when you said this, because I got the same thing looking at jobs at Salesforce, Eloqua, Oracle, Cisco, big London software companies. You know, if you do really well there, you'll earn £250,000 a year. But I just had like this feeling, I was like, it's uneasy. You're like, something about this isn't sitting right with me. And you're like, why would this not sit right with me? Why am I so ungrateful that, you know, I could have the top 1% of the country's income or whatever, and like live in this wonderful house and have this wonderful material life that everyone else would be like, oh my God, you're so successful. So why would, and you feel guilty. It's like, why should I not appreciate that when other people would be so happy for it? Like, what's wrong with me? And it's not till you wake up and you realize that if the path isn't right for you, if the path that you're going down is not going to give you fulfillment, it's not going to give you the things that you want in life, it's never going to be right. And it's about having the awareness that you've had to wake up from that and go, right, you know what? I'm going to figure out what actually is right for me. And that's so many people, when they start this journey, they're in this same space. So, Rob, what advice would you give to someone? Let's say they're 2 months behind where you are. Maybe they've been working on themselves for a while. You know, maybe they've been meditating. Maybe they've been into personal development, whatever. Just starting out, just discovered SFM, skeptical, natural. I was, right? A lot of people are. What advice would you give to someone who's in that space at the moment?
I mean, the thing for me is so you're talking about someone who's, you know, they're starting to think about that change.
Let's say
they're just thoughts. Yeah. There's a difference between thinking and taking action. Yeah. If you don't learn anything by just reading or listening, you know, that they just produce thoughts in your mind. Unless you take action on them, you're not going to get anywhere. One of the big things for me going, say, through my recovery process from alcohol is one of the things that I really like, a saying that I really like is, if there's no change, there's no change. It's very, very simple. You know, if you keep doing the same thing, you're just not going to get anywhere. So you've got to get involved. You've got to take action. You've got to do something. You know, no one's saying that you've got to come into the SFM and do everything. You can have a look around, you know, within the back office, get involved with the SFM community, There's a lot of help out there. That's one of the things that I'd encourage people to do, is to come into SFM, because there's a huge community of people who you can network with, who are going to help you as well. They want you to do well. And that's something that you're not going to have if you're kind of sitting on the fence. All you've got is your own mind to play with. Shall I do this? Shall I not do this? Shall I do this? Shall I not do this? You know, I think coming into the community, you're able to get an understanding of what this really is, and that this life is actually possible.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Basically, you got to try it to know. Yeah. And you brought up community, and that's something that comes up a lot in our conversations here. And I know for me, it's very important. And I think for everybody, you know, having those people out there that you can just message, call, talk to, email, whatever. And, you know, they're actually interested in helping you. You know, it makes such a difference. Were you surprised when you discovered that within the community, or is that what you were expecting to be here?
No, I mean, to be honest with you, I didn't really understand what that community was. And I don't think it's through, you know, coming through the advertising and the sales funnel. I'm not really sure that I kind of saw that. So I was amazed to find this community when I came through. And one of the things I thought was, well, wouldn't everyone kind of be in competition with each other and not want to help you? Because they want to be the best. They want to progress. And I thought this about not even inside the SFM, but also other people who are doing digital marketing, who I've networked with since I've got involved. Everyone wants to help you. Everyone's in this together. It's not even within the SFM, even outside of the SFM. It's kind of like a club. It's amazing. There's an amazing amount of support out there. I've already networked with people inside and outside the SFM. People who, you know, are experts in Facebook or Instagram or Google AdWords or whatever. Everyone kind of has their own little niche. And I've just been amazed at how helpful people are and how willing people are to give you their time. Yeah. So, I mean, I was referred by Strom & Burr, and I got in touch with Christian after a couple of weeks and said, you know, I'd kind of like to just have a quick chat with you. Just to see, you know, how you're doing and how the SFM operates, and to ask a few more questions. And he was, you know, yeah, fine. And, you know, he set aside some time on a Sunday. We talked for about 2 hours, just about the SFM in general and his life and his journey. And, you know, he took his time to learn a little bit about me. So, that was really, really nice, really cool. And, you know, I put a few posts on the Facebook site there with the SFM tribe, and it's just get a great response from people. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest contrasts that people find when they join this journey. It's like the contrast of the corporate world, where everyone's like, especially in sales, everyone's like, I've discovered my little thing and I'm going to keep it to myself and not let anyone else know. And then suddenly they come in this world where everyone's like, this is what works, go and try it. And then if it doesn't work, they're like, okay, so let's work together and let's mastermind and let's figure out how to do this. And people are often like, but why are people helping? Like, what's in it for them? So, well, what's in it for them is the fulfillment of helping someone else grow. And like, it takes a while for people to make that shift and grasp that this is actually a thing. This is actually a tribe and a community of people who are moving forwards in this together. And then you get the question of, but surely isn't it competitive? And you go, well, there's 5 billion people in the world. There's like, I can't remember the number. I think it's like 3.2 billion now that are actually connected to the internet. You've got a massive shift in markets where AI, where technology, where automation are outsourcing humans in most markets, most industries. You know, in a few years, there's going to be AI and robots that are actively outperforming salespeople in their own sales roles, to the point where consumers won't know that they're talking to robots. You know, it's like the advanced versions of Siri. So salespeople are getting outsourced. And I would have always thought, surely salespeople would be safe. I can understand like factory workers, you know, getting outsourced by machines, but surely salespeople say, we're gone as well. You know? So this is the thing, like the world is changing so fast that there's so much potential for providing value in many, many, many different facets. And like you said, the SFM is not just about, hey, learn some digital marketing and then go and make some money online. It's about total transformation, owning your own development, becoming in charge of creating whatever destiny you want, and ultimately learning how to be a real entrepreneur that provides value to society. And like, I could rant about this for ages. I'm sorry, I know this is the Steve and Dan show. We're meant to be talking to you, Rob, but I'm just going on a rampage here about this because I love it. And to hear your perspective as well, starting out and seeing this in the early stages and actually experiencing this for yourself as well. It reminds me what it was like when I was first starting and discovering all of this. I'm like, wow, it's this whole incredible world. So with that in mind, Rob, what would you say is your the single biggest breakthrough or takeaway you've had in the last 2 months? And I'd especially be interested to hear this, given that you were already developing yourself and working on yourself. What in the last 2 months has really pushed you up to the next level through SFM?
I think it's all about the mindset. It's all about the mindset. Like I said, you know, I've done a lot of work on myself over the past 6 to 8 months anyway. So that's kind of made it a little bit easy for me. But all of the conversation comes around to mindset a lot.
Yeah.
And you know, if you've got the right mindset, you just don't fear anything.
Yeah.
You don't fear anything. And if you don't fear anything is possible. You know, one of the problems that I think I've got at the moment is I've got too many ideas. I've almost got too much that I want to do. And I need telling, I need reining in. You know, I've got so much that I can do, and there's so much more to learn. You know, I'm going to be learning forever, and I know that I'm just scratching at the surface of what SFM has got to offer as well.
Well, that's a good point. That's a good point that you just made. Having too many choices, and you know, you might not be at the stage yet where you've had to narrow it down. So I'd like to talk about that a little bit, because that's a common challenge that people have when they come into this. The whole world opens up, and then how do you decide? Oh, I want to go down this path, but ooh, there's something else that's really interesting. Let's go there. Well, what about this? And you know, and people have that shiny object syndrome where they're jumping and jumping and jumping and jumping, and they don't find success because they keep jumping from one to the other. If you haven't made the decision about what path you're going to go down, how do you think you would make that decision? How do you think you would figure out where you want to be and what you want to do?
That's a really good question, because that's exactly where I am at the moment. That's exactly where I am. Those shiny objects are everywhere. And that's a big problem for me. That's my kind of personality as well. You know, something that's very, you know, it's said quite a lot in a lot of the training, and I hear a lot on calls, is, you know, you certainly at the outset, you need to focus on something. You know, get one thing right, and then you can start to open up other things. And that's a problem for me, because I want to do everything. I want to do every kind of marketing. And you know, my wife tells me off because I'm still on my computer at 12 o'clock at night. And I just want to watch another training. But yeah, so for me, this is exactly what I need right now. I need to get some focus in one particular area. I have started marketing already. I started marketing after about 4 weeks, and I've got about 100 leads already.
Awesome.
So, but I am kind of doing a bit of this and a bit of that, and I do need to focus a little bit. So your question was, you know, how am I going to do that? I'm going to ask for help. And I need help. You know, I can't do that on my own. But the thing with SFM is there are people that I can talk to.
Absolutely.
So yeah, you know.
Well, one suggestion I would make is look at your personality. You're already very much into personal development. So look at your personality, your natural traits. What do you instinctively go to? You know, are you more attracted to Facebook naturally? Are you more attracted to YouTube? You know, keyword research. Start to look at those.
Yeah, I mean, again, I want to say everything, but yeah, the scientist in me, I think the analytical nature, I think the keyword side of stuff and Google AdWords and things like that, which I know a little bit about, all that analysis and tweaking things and getting things just right. I think that might be something that I really like to jump into. So yeah, but then I do like I'm going to get a camera soon, a new camera. I do like the thought of making some good videos as well. So
awesome.
Yeah, and exactly like you say, reach out for help in the community. Look for other people who have achieved the result that you want. Look at what they've done to achieve that result. But the single most important thing is focus, because I love the Chinese proverb, man who chases many monkey catches none.
Yeah,
that's so important. It's like, when I started this journey, I started on advertising on Bing for like a month and a bit. Bing was sort of a training platform that gave me the foundational understanding of keyword research, of how to create campaigns targeting a certain target market, and all these skills that we learn. And again, if anyone's watching this thinking, oh, this sounds really technical, this isn't for me. Well, at one point, learning to drive wasn't for you. Now you can probably drive. At one point, learning to walk wasn't for you. Now you can probably walk, right? So the point is that if you're determined and you want to learn something, anyone can learn any skill. Just a matter of time, and it's a matter of commitment. If you're committed enough, you'll do it, right? So don't look at this and think, oh, I can't do that because that sounds too technical. The training's there. It's laid out step by step. Just follow the training. You'll learn anything.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so the key thing is, like, when you're getting started, as I say, I started on Bing, and then the Bing was the foundation, and then it was YouTube. And I decided I'm going to become a master of YouTube. I'm going to commit to this path, commit to this craft. I'm going to not flit around lots of different things, master YouTube. Still took about 6-7 months of actively marketing, scaling my budget up, spending more and more and more, gathering a lot of data, to really start to understand the mechanics of what was happening on, behind the scenes on the platform. And then by that point, I started to get traction, started to get results, and now I've just been growing on that. But even since then, in the whole time I've been in SFM, which is now probably coming on 19 months, I think, about 19 months, still early days in the grand scheme of things. 99% of everything I've done has been YouTube. Like, I'm just mastering YouTube. That's exactly what I'm doing, and scaled up to the point now. I mean, we don't normally talk about sort of results and stuff on this call. Let's just say financially it's going very well, but it's because focusing on one thing is mastery. If you want to learn a sport in the Olympics, you don't go, oh, okay, unless you're a decathlon athlete. This is maybe an exception, but you don't go like, I'm going to be a footballer, and I'm then going to be a hockey player, and I'm going to play basketball. Oh, and actually, as well as that, I tell you what, I'm going to play golf as well. Like, you can become all right at a bunch of different stuff, but you won't be a master of any. If you want to get exceptional at something, if you want to create exceptional results in your life, you've got to have that exceptional focus on one thing. So, Rob, you already know this, and again, ask the community for help, and just follow in the people who will advise you that have already walked the path, and that's it. It's simple. Tony Robbins modeling. Good work.
I mean, one of the things I do have to keep telling myself as well, and I know that it's true, is that this is a marathon. It's not a sprint.
Absolutely.
This isn't a flash in the pan for me. This is my life now. I was going to say career, but it's not career. This is my life.
Yeah.
This is my life now. I'm committed to it. And so I do realize that I need to slow down a little. Slow down and pick my niche and master it. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
And just be authentic.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's a great point. Be authentic, because that's going to come through in whether it's if you're doing keywords or if you're doing videos, whatever it is, it's going to come through. And it's so important to have that authenticity. Just be yourself, because you're going to connect with the group of people that are right for your business. So yeah, keep that authenticity. I don't think that's going to be a problem from you based on this call.
Yeah.
You're very good at that, about being open and sharing who you are, and we really appreciate that. One piece of advice for the new person, somebody, they're newer than you even, and they've really just checked in. What would you tell them to focus on, or to do first?
100%. It's all about you and your mindset. It's all that before you even get into any trainings about, you know, any kind of marketing. It's all about you and understanding who you are, what you want to get out of this. You need to be thinking about your vision and your purpose, things like this. This is very, very important. And it's very, very difficult, I think, for people starting out to do that, because, you know, you don't take a look at yourself in life. You're too busy. You're just full steam ahead, you know, in that corporate career, and you haven't got time to even know who you are. But, you know, when you sit down and really start to think and really start to understand, you know, what do you want to get out of life, that's when things can happen for you. For me, you know, I had to be brought to my knees before I made this kind of realization. And, you know, I mean, one message from me, which I will continue to speak about throughout my life, is, you know, I don't want people to get into that position. You know, some people can be unhappy for 10, 15 years and can get into a position like I did. You know, if I'd have known about this kind of life 10 years ago, wow, my life would be very, very, very different. But, you know, that's life. That's where I got to. But that would be my advice. It's got to start with you. That's the foundation. That's the foundation. There's no point in learning all of these tools if you don't know what to do with it. And you'll only know what to do with all of these tools that you learn when you understand what is your purpose, what is your passion, what is your vision for the future. So yeah, that would be my advice.
That is excellent advice. Excellent advice. Know your vision, know yourself, know your purpose. And sometimes that can be difficult. Dan, is there anything else that you want to cover?
Yeah, I was going to say, final question from me is, now that you're on this path, Rob, where do you see yourself in 24 months? What's the future hold for Rob?
Right. Well, I mean, again, I'd like to say that I'll be doing everything. But I think, you know, do you know what? I'm going to take your advice. And because I realize the importance of that. I realize the importance of that going forward within SFM. I've taken advice on board through my recovery from alcohol. And that is to listen to people who are experienced and, you know how to get to the destination that you want to get with. So I am going to focus on one particular area and I'm going to master it. I'm going to be the master of that particular area. Marketing with a very, very, very clear message and vision. And I want to be a go-to person. I want people to be getting in touch with me, asking for my advice on how they can reach their goals. So that's where I'd like to be in 2 years' time.
Awesome.
Awesome. I know you'll be there for sure, because you're starting off with the right mindset, the right perspective. You're willing to take advice. You're willing to seek advice. And all of those things are key to success. You know, we say it all the time. Success is a team sport. Mm-hmm. And you got a great team around you, and we're glad you're on the team.
Yeah. 100%.
So thanks for spending the time with us, Rob. It's been awesome. I know
it's been great meeting you guys. Thanks very much.
You're welcome.
All right. Take care, everybody. We will see you next week. Dan, thank you as always. Good to spend the time with you.
For sure.
Have a great day.
Thanks for watching, guys. Speak soon.